Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Silk and Soul. I am so grateful that you're here. Now grab a cuppa, get comfy, and let's dive in. Let's talk about perimenopause. And this is a little bit about my own little journey into this threshold, because that's what it is. There is obviously menopause as a threshold, but then before that you have the peri-menopause or the quickening. There are different words for it, but it's like the years prior to actually having menopause or going into menopause. And there was a point in the second half of last year where I had this feeling that I was in perimenopause. There was no logical reason why I thought that. I had absolutely no symptoms. My cycles are so regular. Nothing else. There was just something inside of me that could feel, oh, I'm going past this threshold. I'm entering this new stage. And to be honest, like looking back, I was absolutely okay with that. I still am actually. It was very much in my head for a little while, and then it's almost like I forgot. Life takes over, and you forgot. And then I don't actually know when it started. I want to say it was before Christmas. I'm recording this in February at the moment, so it's been probably a good 3 months. Like I started to get really dry lips. Like I've never had any problems with that at all. And I was like, it's just the heating. It's I just put lip balm on and Google things like beeswax and doing all of these things. I was like, it'll be fine. And yeah, kept doing that. And then it wasn't until literally a couple of weeks ago when I realized I'm really cold, freezing cold, to the bone. It's absolutely ridiculous. Where it was just these are some really bizarre symptoms. So I then started to have a look deeper into it. I was like, oh, okay, that could actually be some physical symptoms within perimenopause. Talking to someone else was like, oh yeah, just make sure that you check out your thyroid as well, because the being cold could come from that. To be fair, since then I've developed some sweats, not too much though. So it's essentially my estrogen. I know it's dipping, so it is hormonal. And I was saying to my husband the other night, I was like, that might actually explain. So our dog is been really on me. That's the only. He's just he really wants my attention. He's my husband's dog. So they've been together since before we even met, but recently he's been really attached to me. And I'm just I do wonder, because obviously they feel all of these things and they notice that. And I'm just I do wonder if he keeps sensing my hormones dropping, which is why he's literally pinned next to me. And it was, really it's been really interesting over the last probably 2 weeks, to be fair, where I've just really realized oh, these are actually physical symptoms of perimenopause. And I sort of had to I sat with that for a little while. I'm just we've got our daughter, we don't want any more children, so from that perspective, from a evolution perspective, it's all fine. And on an emotional level, I'm just oh, there is like a lot of stuff that's sort of coming up, and it's meant to come up as well during perimenopause, so that you can essentially shed it. And at the time of recording, it is still the year of the snake, just the last little bit, so that doesn't really help either with shedding all of these things on top of whatever is going on within the perimenopause. And one of the things that for me that I really wanted to do, or not wanted, like really want to do, is go into this phase like really intentionally. Like I feel like the other thresholds, like going into maiden and into mother, were almost like taken away from me for various reasons, or I wasn't in my power. But that is probably more like it, more so. I wasn't in my power, either one of those. And like this time, I'm just like, no, I want to be in my power. I really want to not make this work for me, but really be myself and really come home to myself through this. And it is such an like interesting journey. I don't really have an elder to talk to any of this about, so it feels very much like I'm alone in this at the moment. I know obviously I'm not alone, but in terms of going for someone for advice, I don't really have that person. So I'm just doing everything like almost like in my own isolated bubble, which I think just adds like a whole different layer for me at the moment, just almost like feeling lonely. I know I'm very well supported and I have a lot of resources at my hands, and I just want to really, with that, like create my own little rhythm and sacred space essentially. And it is very interesting to me, like how like passionate I feel about this. Like when I was talking to a like quite much younger friend of mine, the first thing she actually said was just like, oh, you're gonna get some hormones, like get HRT and stuff. I was like, and I was just like, no. I was just like really passionate about this, and I was like, oh, this is quite interesting, like just how strongly I feel about that as well, because I didn't realize until she sort of just asked me the question. There was like nothing behind it at all, and I was like, oh no, I do actually, I do try to do this as holistic as I can. I was like, plus my symptoms are not that huge at the moment, so it doesn't have like a huge impact on me. So, that is in that sense all fine. But I'm just like, oh, like that little bit of fire that came through. It's like, oh, okay. But this whole sort of perimenopause journey, and I know a lot of us women feel very much alone around this, especially in this world where we are just, a lot of us, like building online businesses and don't have this connection to each other anymore as much. So if you're in that situation at the moment, know that you're not alone. I am in that same boat at the moment, and it is a good little journey, I guess. And I'm very much only at the beginning, like even up to this date, as I just said, the only symptoms that I really have is like dry lips, like the temperature, when my body can't quite regulate the temperature. And the mood swings. I used to get like angry just before, like as part of my PMS, but I feel like this is a whole different level. Like, I'm just like, whoa. It's like almost, there's like a lot of fire inside of me at the moment. That's the only way I can describe it. And, you know, it's learning to, I guess, be with that and with that fire, and like learn how to really utilize it. Because obviously you don't. Well, I don't want to run or walk through life like shouting and be angry and all of that just because something like my inner fire was lit. So it's a lot of things that are going on at the moment, and I know as I guess I go deeper into this journey, I'll be sharing a lot more on this podcast as well, because I think this is a conversation that needs to be had. I'll be doing conversations about the other thresholds as well, but this for me at the moment where I am right now in it, like this is what I want to share and what is flowing through me at the moment, and that's really what I go with. I go with what is flowing through me and what needs to or wants to be shared, and it definitely is like my peri-menopause journey. One of the things that I actually thought the other day is to potentially actually do like a little peri-menopause circle, not a little circle, but like a peri-menopause circle, just for women to come together and just start connecting to that part of themselves, and then also have a sharing circle as part of that, where we can just be, where we can just let it all out and all of the emotions. And it is not always, you know, all happy, even though I am looking forward to going on this like journey, going through this threshold in an intentional way, because I can this time, or I feel like this time I actually can be very intentional with it and be within my power. I know that there will be times when I probably just want to give up. I don't really have the words because I've not quite been there yet, but I know there will be lows, and you know, especially in those times, I feel like we need that sort of support system from people who are in a similar situation as you, who are going through the same like threshold, the same sort of thing that's going on. And by same, I just mean like the labor of perimenopause. We're all different. We all experience it in a different way, and there is no right or wrong. And also, just as a thing to say, like where I said earlier on in the podcast that I don't want to have any hormonal like HRT and stuff, that is currently my current choice. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just what I choose for myself at this moment in time, and that might change. Give it a few years, that might change, who knows. But at the moment, this is where I am. If anyone else does this, that is absolutely fine. If it works for them, great. I'm so happy. You know, we all have to find what is right for us. And I think there is so much stigma around, you know, you have to do it one way, and if it's not holistic, or if it's like when, for example, through childbirth, if you get the epidural or get painkillers, it's not, I don't want to say you're not a worthy mum, because that's absolute BS, but there is so much stigma around like stuff like that, and like about around birth. That's a whole different story. But I just want you to know that, you know, just ignore what everyone else is saying and doing, and just come back to yourself. You're on the path to becoming the wise woman. You're becoming like staying within your own power, like really wise power. and your body and your intuition knows which way to go. If it's down like a medical route, if it's down non-medical, if it's whatever it is, just make sure that it is right for you and that you're not doing it because you should, or you're not doing it because you shouldn't. Just really tune into what would help you in the situation. I guess that's like a little, maybe not so little disclaimer here. It is like, especially I feel in this threshold, it is for all thresholds, but especially in this threshold, just really stepping into your power and just deciding, or not necessarily deciding, but like, this is what I need right now. And this might change tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. But right now, this is what I need. And that is okay. Whatever that choice is. I do feel like at the end of this, I feel like a little bit of a rant, but I also feel like that needs to be said, so I did. As I said, I've been very much in the beginning phases of this like threshold, and I know there's going to be so much more that's going to come through me as well. So I might even do like a little peri-menopause like series. Who knows? But I think this is where I'm going to leave it. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'll speak to you next week.